Okay, hi students. So today we are still talking about the present, the present perfect progressive. Oh, I have a hard time saying it. So it's just the one where we say, I, you, have, been, and then we use a progressive verb like walking. I have been walking. She has been walking. So, just from what we learned yesterday, which is how you just make it normally. And today we're going to talk about how you change it to make it a negative, meaning you're telling them no, like this does not happen, or how to make it a question and how to use contractions. So this is how we make it negative, is you have the subject, have or has, and you just put not after the have or after the has, and you say not and you put it before been and then the progressive verb like walk-ing, talk-ing, sit-ing. So that kind of stuff. And if you remember from before, quite a few lessons ago, we learned that have not can be put together in a contraction and you can say haven't. Or has not can be put together and you can say hasn't. So you would say, for example, I have not, and then it should say been. My computer is freezing, sorry. I need to figure this out, why it keeps doing this. Has not been feeling sick. So I have not been feeling sick. So that's how you make it. So for practice, you could say she has not been doing well. So that just means it's the same meaning as what we learned, why we use this verb tense, because we're talking about something that happened in the past and is still happening. So if you say she has not been doing well, it means that this part, been doing well, is not happening. It's not happening and it keeps not happening. So it means that she was not doing good in the past. She wasn't doing well in the past. And she's still that way. So sometimes when you make them negative, it can be a little bit confusing because you say not, but then you're thinking about it and the verb that you use and you say, okay, is it happening or is it not happening? So just remember, when it's not, it just means that whatever the verb that you use, the action that you're talking about, it just means that it's not happening. It's a no. So she has not been doing well means that like they feel sick or they've been feeling sad or frustrated, or just having a hard time. So that's what that would mean. I have not been eating breakfast. So that one's easy. So that means that at some point in the past you weren't eating breakfast, but you are still not eating breakfast, and you probably you won't be eating breakfast after, meaning you've been waking up for work and you're late or something, and so you keep skipping breakfast. And so that's one of the ways that you can use it, and that's what it means. They have not been coming to English class. They have not been coming to English class. So this one, again, they have not been coming to English class. It just means that you've had an English class in the past and you keep having them, right? But the person or the people have not been coming. So that's what that means. My sister hasn't been answering my phone calls. So it uses hasn't, which is has not, right? And we say has and not have because of the subject. My sister, she has not, she hasn't been answering my phone calls. we haven't been waiting long. So if you say we haven't, it just means have not, right? We have not been waiting long. So if somebody says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late. Were you here a long time?" You could say, "Oh, we haven't been waiting long." It just means that you got there and you didn't wait a long time. You did not. But if you said we have been waiting long, then that would mean that you got there and time kept going and it was a long time. But if you say we haven't, it's the opposite. It means we have not been waiting long. We haven't been waiting long. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to review how to use contractions. These ones you guys all know, but I want to go over them again just because there's a lot. I have is I've, you have is you've, we have is we've, they have, they've, she has, she's, which also she's can mean she is, but in this case we're saying she has and it still is she's. He has is he's, it has its. And we just learned that have not is haven't, has not is hasn't. So sometimes it's hard. Just remember that there's a pronunciation difference between the v and the z in haven't, haven't. You want to put your top teeth on your bottom lip, haven't. So when you're saying haven't, you want to make sure that you can feel your top teeth touching your bottom lip like this. Just for a quick second. Haven't. Haven't. And you just blow air through. Haven't. But hasn't, your top teeth do not touch your lip. You just put them together. Hasn't. Hasn't. So if you'll see, I'm not putting, this is kind of gross, I'm not putting my top teeth on my lip when I say the S in hasn't. It's hasn't, hasn't. But when you say haven't, you need to use your lip. Haven't, haven't. So that's important when you're saying it because you can say hasn't and haven't, and if you don't pronounce the v, it sounds like you're saying hasn't. So I've been working late. That's correct because you're saying I have been working late. It's just I and have are put together. He's been acting strange. He has been acting strange. This one is not he is been acting strange. You can't say he is been acting strange because you can't use is. You have to use has, right? He has been acting strange. They haven't been taking the bus. Or you could say they've not been taking the bus. So you'll see that you can either put they and have together or have and not together. But you need to remember that it only can put two together. So if you say they haven't, it means that have and not are together. So you wouldn't say they haven't not because you put it with have. You squished it in. You can say they've because it's they have. So that's why you put the not after. They've not been taking the bus. My friend hasn't been speaking to me. So that one, my friend hasn't been speaking to me, is has not. My friend, it could be a girl, it could be a boy, we don't know, it could be anybody. And we just say, my friend hasn't, right? It's a single person that's not us. So that's why you can use it's hasn't. Okay. Now, the next thing that we are going to talk about is how to make questions. So this one, again, same as all the other verb tenses before. All you do is put The part that comes after the subject, normally before the subject, you switch places with it. So instead of saying I have been talking, you would say and then you would use the subject. Have you been talking? That's how you make it a question. That's all you do is you just flip it. So, have you been feeling sick? Has she been dating people? And that's how you just make it into a question. So, really simple and easy. You just flip it. And that's all you have to remember is that when you're asking the question, have and has, depending on who you're talking about. So, if you say I, you, we, they, you use have. Have we been walking? Or have they been living? Have you been, have you been taking the bus? That's the stuff that you would use. If you use has she been here? Or has she, not here, has she been walking? Has she been talking? Has the bus been late? Or that wouldn't work. Has the bus? I'm having trouble coming up with examples, but you just need to make sure that you're using the right have or has with the subject, and you just have to remember that. So we're going to do a little bit of practice for this. So remember, you just put have or has in front, and that's how you turn it into a question. So you have been waiting a long time, right? We have the subject, we have the word have, been, the verb wait, and an ing at the end, waiting, the progressive verb. You have been waiting a long time. To make it a question, we just put have in the beginning. Have you been waiting a long time? She has been needing help. All we have to do is put has at the beginning. Has she been needing help? They have been getting into trouble. Have they been getting into trouble? And that's just how you use it. And turn things into questions. So it's the same pattern that we've been using this whole time when we talk about making verb tenses into questions. But I can go over it some more if you want me to. Just let me know when I send you your worksheet. And at the end, I just wanted to show you all of the ways that you can make present perfect progressive tense, or the one that we use, the verb tense that talks about time, something that happened in the past and has kept going into the present, right? And that's why it's present tense, because it's something that we're talking about that happened in the past but keeps going and is important to the present. It is still going. So to make just the regular kind, you just have the subject, have or has, been, and then the verb plus ing at the end. So we have I have been feeling sick. So that's just the regular one. If you want to tell somebody that it's not happening or it's negative, you use the subject, have or has, the word not, and then been, and then the verb and the ing, the ing at the end. I have not, right? You have the subject, I have not been. Feel is the verb ing, feeling sick. I have not been feeling sick. So you can say, I have been feeling sick. I have not been feeling sick. And you can also say, ask a question. Have you been feeling sick? You put have in the beginning, right? Or has if you're talking about a third person that's not you or a single thing, right? Have you been feeling sick? We have been, feeling sick. So you have 3 different ways. So this is all the same verb tense. You're talking about a certain way of, you're talking about a specific kind of time, right? Because that's what a verb tense is. It's saying, I'm talking about an action that happened at some point in the present, the past, or the future. And when we use present perfect progressive, it means that we're talking about something in the past, right? That's important to now. That's what present perfect is. And we say progressive, present perfect progressive, because that lets us know that the action that's happening is still happening. So action in the past, that's important to now. That's why it's present perfect. And it keeps going. And that's why it's progressive, right? When we say, when we use present progressive tense, like we say, I am walking to the bus, it means that we're doing it. It means that the action is still happening, right? But when we say, I have been walking, it means that we're especially focusing on that it happened in the past and it keeps happening now in the present. That's what the focus is. That's why it's this, we use this verb tense, is we focus on the fact that it's from the past, this action happened in the past, right? It was in the past. It's important now, and the important thing is that the action is still happening. And so that's all for today, and I will see you next lesson.